In a stunning diplomatic affront that has sent shockwaves through the halls of Buckingham Palace and left the once vaunted royal rebels reeling, the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, has taken the extraordinary step of issuing an outright ban on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's planned visit to the West African nation next month, abruptly cancelling what was supposed to be the crowning jewel of the Sussexes' global philanthropic tour. The bombshell decision, communicated through official channels in a terse, three-sentence dispatch, has blindsided the Duke and Duchess, whose aides and advisors were reportedly left scrambling in the wake of the Ghanaian government's unequivocal rebuke. It was an absolute slap in the face, a humiliation of the highest order, confided a source close to the Sussex camp, their voice thick with barely concealed shock and dismay. To have a sitting head of state not only reject their visit, but to do so in such a curt, dismissive manner, it's an insult that cuts straight to the bone. The roots of the unprecedented snub, according to multiple sources within diplomatic circles, can be traced back to the aftermath of Harry and Meghan's explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2021, during which the couple leveled a series of bombshell allegations against the royal family, including accusations of racism and a callous disregard for Meghan's mental health struggles. While the salacious revelations sent shockwaves across the globe and irrevocably fractured the Sussexes' relationship with the monarchy, it was their comments about the Commonwealth, the association of mostly former British territories, that appeared to have struck a particularly raw nerve among Ghana's leadership. During the sit-down, Harry expressed his belief that the Commonwealth, an institution deeply rooted in the nation's colonial past, should either be reformed or risk becoming an obsolete relic, a statement that was widely interpreted as a thinly veiled criticism of the organization's continued existence. Harry's words were seen as a direct affront to the very notion of Commonwealth solidarity and cooperation, explained Dr. Kwaku Aining, a prominent Ghanaian political analyst and professor at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. For a member of the British royal family to so brazenly question the relevance and legitimacy of an institution that has played such a pivotal role in fostering unity and progress across the African continent, it was viewed as not only insensitive but downright insulting. In the aftermath of the interview, sources within the Ghanaian government suggest that President Akufo-Addo and his advisors were inundated with a groundswell of public outrage and calls for retribution, with many demanding that the nation take a firm stand against the perceived slights leveled by the Duke and Duchess. There was immense pressure on the president to send a clear message, to make it abundantly clear that such disparaging comments about the Commonwealth would not be tolerated or brushed aside, Dr. Aining revealed. In the eyes of many Ghanaians, Harry and Meghan had crossed a line, and a strong rebuke was not only warranted but necessary to uphold our national dignity and pride. The decision to outright ban the Sussexes' visit, rather than issuing a more measured or diplomatic response, is seen by many as a calculated power play by President Akufo-Addo, a stern reminder of Ghana's status as a sovereign nation with the authority to dictate the terms of its own engagement with foreign dignitaries and public figures. This was a clear flexing of muscle, a demonstration of Ghana's newfound assertiveness on the global stage, asserted Dr. Aining. By taking such a unilateral and decisive stance, the president has sent an unmistakable message that Ghana will no longer be a passive bystander, content to simply acquiesce to the whims and demands of Western celebrities or members of the former colonial establishment. For Harry and Meghan, the Ghanaian president's edict has proven to be a devastating setback, one that threatens to undermine the very foundations of their self-appointed roles as global ambassadors and champions of progressive causes. They were absolutely blindsided by this, the source close to the Sussexes revealed. Their entire Africa tour was meant to be a sort of redemption narrative, an opportunity to showcase their commitment to humanitarian initiatives and reconnect with the continent that holds such deep personal significance for Harry. Indeed, the couple's planned visit to Ghana was intended to be the centerpiece of their philanthropic odyssey, with a packed itinerary that included meetings with local leaders, visits to schools and healthcare facilities, and a series of high-profile events aimed at raising awareness and funds for a range of charitable endeavors. Now, with their Ghanaian sojourn abruptly cancelled, the Sussexes find themselves facing a public relations quagmire, forced to contend with the fallout of a very public rebuke while simultaneously scrambling to salvage what remains of their once vaunted global tour. This has thrown their entire media strategy into disarray, the source lamented. So much of the coverage and messaging was predicated on their visit to Ghana, on using that as a platform to reframe the narrative and recast themselves as forces for positive change on the world stage. As the recriminations and hand-wringing continue behind the scenes, a chorus of critics and royal commentators have wasted no time in weighing in on the Ghanaian president's decision, with opinions ranging from full-throated support to outright condemnation. President Akufo-Addo has every right to dictate the terms of engagement with foreign visitors, especially those who have leveled such egregious insults against institutions that are deeply respected and revered across the African continent, proclaimed Ian Martin, a British journalist and author. Harry and Meghan's comments about the Commonwealth were nothing short of ignorant and insulting, a profound lack of understanding and appreciation for the pivotal role those bonds have played in fostering unity and progress. Others, however, have decried the snub as a gross overreaction, a misguided and disproportionate response that does little to advance the cause of diplomacy or cross-cultural understanding. This was an opportunity for dialogue, for frank and open discussions about the very real issues and complexities surrounding the legacy of colonialism and the evolving role of the Commonwealth in the modern era, opined Lavinia Stennett, director of the Black Curriculum, an educational nonprofit focused on promoting Black British history. Instead, President Akufo-Addo has chosen to slam the door shut, to foreclose any possibility of meaningful engagement or growth. As the polarized reactions continue to swirl, the Sussexes find themselves at a crossroads, faced with the unenviable task of charting a path forward in the wake of this seismic diplomatic setback. Will they double down on their commitment to global philanthropy, redoubling their efforts to connect with communities and causes across the African continent? Or will the sting of rejection and humiliation prove too much to bear, prompting a retreat back into the insular confines of their Californian enclave? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the Ghanaian president's decisive rebuke has served as a stark reminder that the road to redemption and relevance on the global stage is a treacherous one, fraught with pitfalls and unforeseen obstacles. For Harry and Meghan, the battle to reshape their public personas and cement their status as respected humanitarians has just become infinitely more challenging, a harsh lesson in the harsh realities of navigating the treacherous currents of international diplomacy and public opinion. As the world watches with bated breath, the question remains: will the Duke and Duchess emerge emboldened and resolute in the face of adversity, or will this latest setback prove to be the beginning of the end for their once lofty ambitions of global influence and acclaim?